Good afternoon, everybody. Mr. Martin here with today's science learning episode for our Wonder lesson. So, as we know, over the past few weeks, we began to look at our new topic of the human body. And you guys have really embraced this topic and I've been really impressed with some of the work that has been sent in. So, we're going to have a quick shout out and a whoop honk to 2 children for their work last week. So, if you rewind back to last week, we began to look at the skeleton, okay, which we know makes up part of the human body, and it's got all the major bones in it. Okay? And I asked you to label a skeleton with 7 or 8 of the major bones, and we looked at the function of the skeleton as well. So I've got 2 shout outs. Well done, Gullah. Fantastic work on labeling your skeleton. You've got all the labels correct, and I can see down here that you've gone on to explain about the function of the spine and why it's important that we protect it. So well done, Gullah. Whoop honk, and your teacher will have put some dojos on. And well done, Rebecca P. Polavina, for your beautiful diagram. I love this one. And Mr. Jones said it was brilliant as well. And I love your labels and your diagram and your annotation of it down here. So big whoop honk for Rebecca and Gullah, and well done, you two. Right, before we move on to today's concept, I just wanted to make sure that we fully understood last week. So I've got a Kagan question for you. We're going to do a find the fib. Now on your screen, you will see that I've got 3 statements about the skeleton, okay? And find the fib is where 2 of these are correct. They are true statements. And 1, I've been a bit sneaky, fib, which means it's a lie. So I'm going to read them, and you can read them on your screen, and I'd like you to work out which one is false. So we've got babies have more bones than adults. The collarbone is found in your leg, and the rib cage protects the heart and lungs. 2 are true, 1 is false. You don't need to write it down, just talk about it with the people at home. Which one is the lie? Pause the video if you want to have a little chat about it. Okay, right. Hopefully you said that this middle one is a lie. The collarbone, we know, is not found in our leg, is it? It's found at the top of our chest, connecting to our shoulder and our rib cage here. So well done. Right, let's have a look at what we are learning today then. So in your books, please can you write today's date, which is Thursday the 28th of January, 2021. Underline it with a ruler, please, if you do have one at home. And can you write our Wonder lesson? So we're doing science. Can you put that underneath so we know what lesson it is? And as you can see on our screen, we've got the what, how, and why for today's lesson. So you can have a read of that. So we're going to know the main muscles in the human body. So we did bones last week. Today we're looking at muscles. New learning, because we haven't covered it yet. And why? So that we can correctly label them, and we're going to explain the function of the muscles today as well. So without further ado, let's have a look. So first of all, before we look at muscles, we need to know what they are. Now, I'm fairly sure if we were in class and I said, oh, what are muscles? Everyone would go like this, point to the muscles on their arm. You are correct. We're going to learn about those muscles, but there are many types of muscles. There are over 500 different muscles in our body, okay? We've got muscles that help us move our jaw, help us move our tongue. Our heart is a muscle. But today we're going to look at the main muscles and the biggest muscles that make up our muscular system in our body, okay? So a muscle is made of something called tissue, as you can see on my screen. And this tissue is strong and it's stretchy, okay, really strong material. The tissue is bunched up into the muscle. And the muscle is attached to our skeleton that we learned about last week. So the function of our muscles are to help the body. Can anyone work it out? Good. Our muscles help us to move by pulling on our bones and enabling our body parts to move. Right. We are now going to have a look at some of the different muscles in our human body. on my screen, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of the major muscles in the human body. So we'll go through and say them first, and then we're going to have a look at locating them. So we've got deltoid, calf, pectorals, biceps, hamstring, abdominals, quadriceps, and triceps. Now, you might have heard of some of those before, you might not. That is absolutely fine. So, the first task I would like you to do is you are going to draw a diagram of a muscular system, something along the lines of this, okay? Underneath today's date and title of science. Then you are going to use your researching skills to locate these 8 muscles and draw a label to show us exactly where they are. Now, I am going to help you. I know last week I used our curriculum enhancer book, the Big Body book, and we're going to use it again today as it's got a nice fold out of the muscular system. I don't know if you can start to see it on my screen here. Okay, but some feedback from last week was that you guys couldn't quite see it on the screen. So I'm going to take a picture of our fold out muscular system and I'll post it on Class Dojo for you, as this will have all of our major muscles that we're looking at on it. Okay, you can go and do your own research, but I will post pictures from our curriculum enhancer fold out to help you locate these muscles. All you need to do is draw outline of a human body with all the muscles, something along the lines of this. Try your best, please. And then you're going to look, where is the bicep? Where is that? And then you're going to label, or draw a line, sorry, to show exactly where the bicep is on the human body, the bicep muscle. These are all muscles in our human body. Now, pause the video while you do that now, please, because we are going to go through the answers together shortly. So pause the video. I want to have you plenty of time to do that. You need to find where the biceps, pectorals, hamstring, calf, deltoids, triceps, abdominals, and quadriceps are. Okay, so pause the video now, please. Okay, right. I'm going to start going through them with you now so you can check your own work. And if there's any that we're not quite there yet with, you can change them, okay? Let's have a look. So let's start with this one then. Our deltoids. Now, our deltoids are one of the major muscles in our shoulder, okay? They make up our shoulder. So hopefully you had an arrow going towards the shoulder muscle, this big one here. Right, let's do the biceps then. Now, biceps, as we said, are the one that usually people point to on the top of their arm, okay? So it's on the top of the top half of our arm, between our elbow and our shoulder, but on the front of your arm, on the top. However, it is not the only muscle in our arm. On the back of our arm, behind our bicep, so, not on the camera, bicep, and underneath that, we have the tricep. Okay, and we're going to learn how they work together shortly. Now, pectorals, okay, that is the proper name for the muscles in our chest. Okay, so our pectoral muscles. Well done. Hopefully, you've got some of these. Again, if you haven't quite got there yet, you need to label them now. Right, our abdominals. Abdominals. You might have heard people say abs as abbreviation before. Our abdominals are the muscles on top of our stomach, okay? If you're trying to get a six-pack, you're working on your abdominal muscles. Then we move on to some of the muscles in our legs, okay? Now we're in year 3, we're not going to call them our leg muscles, okay? Or our upper leg or our lower leg muscles. We're going to use the proper names for them. So we've got 3 main ones in our legs. So let's start with this one. We've got our quadricep. Quadricep. Now your quadricep are the muscles, there's a couple of them, on the front of your leg, between your hip and your knee. So on the front of your leg is our quadricep. On the back of your thigh, so behind your quadricep, again, between your knee and your hip on the back, is our hamstring muscle. Hamstring. Now, if we've got any footballers, you might have heard that hamstring muscle because it gets used quite often. Quadricep on the front and our hamstring muscle on the back. And then finally, our last muscle is our calf muscle. Now that is between our knee and our ankle, and it's on the back of our leg. It's this one that sticks out on both legs, our calf muscle. So hopefully yours looks something like that. We've got our deltoids in our shoulders. We've got our biceps. We've got our triceps. We've got our pectorals. We've got our abdominals in our stomach. And we go into our legs. We've got our hamstrings on the back, quadriceps on the front, calves at the bottom. Okay, going from your heel up to your knee. Right, we're going to play a game of Mr. Martin Says, similar to last week. So if I say Mr. Martin Says, you point to that muscle. If I do not say it, you don't go. Right, you ready? Mr. Martin Says, point to your biceps. Mr. Martin Says, point to your deltoids. Mr. Martin Says, point to your pectorals. Mr. Martin Says, point to your abdominals. Pectorals. Oh, I didn't say it. Calves. No, I didn't say it. Mr. Martin Says, point to your hamstrings. Mr. Martin Says, point to your quadriceps. Calf. Abdominals. Oh, getting good. And again, you can play that with your parents or adults at home to help us learn. So these are the 8 major muscles we're going to be focusing. Right, let's have a bit of a look. So now we know our muscles and we know that their function is to help us move. How do these muscles work? Now, I'm just going to share a little video for you that explains it really well. So let me just share my screen. And here we go. And I need to share my sound as well. That might help. Okay, I'm going to watch this little video. It's about 2 minutes long. And it helps us explain how do our muscles work together.
Skeletons can be remarkably flexible, but the bones of a skeleton don't move on their own. They need muscles to pull them.
Muscles are very important. You use muscles every time you move. You've got over 600 muscles in your body. So if you smile, you've used muscles in your face. If I wiggle my fingers, I've used muscles in my hand. So every time you make a movement, you will be using muscles. Muscles are attached to bone by a tendon. If I want to hold my arm out here and I want to bring my hand up towards my shoulder, I've got a muscle on the top and a muscle on the bottom, and the muscle on the top has to get shorter and contract. At the same time, the muscle on the bottom will get longer and relax, and then when I want to go and push my arm back down, the muscle on the bottom gets shorter and contracts, and the muscle on the top gets longer and relaxes. So they work as a pair to allow us to have a nice, smooth movement.
The muscle on the top pulls the arm up by contracting. Then, if you want to put your arm down, the muscle underneath has to pull instead, so the two muscles work together.
Okay, so that's a nice little video for us there that demonstrates how our muscles work. So, as the video showed, our muscles always work in pairs. Now, we know that a muscle is a bundle of tissues, okay, that is strong and stretchy. So, example the woman gave on the video, if my bicep, if I want to lift my arm up and my bicep contracts, if you feel it getting shorter and tighter, my tricep, which is its partner muscle underneath, relaxes, which means it gets longer and thinner. So bicep contracts while the tricep relaxes, and then the other way around. Your bicep relaxes as your tricep contracts. These are 2 words that we're going to be looking at, contract and relax. So, before we move on, sorry, I forgot to say at the start, after you've done your diagram, please can you write these 2 sentences out about our muscles. Okay, so we've got a reminder that they are made of tissue and they're strong and stretchy, and they're attached to skeleton, and they help us to move. That's their function. So pause the video now. Can you write those 2 sentences out? And then we're just going to do one last thing before it's the end of the lesson. Hopefully you've labelled, you've written those 2 sentences out underneath so we know what muscles are. We know that they work in pairs because we've just watched the video. Your bicep and your tricep work together, your hamstring and your quadriceps work together. And we know that, well, one contracts, its partner muscle relaxes, and vice versa. So when one relaxes, the other one. Okay, a bit of a summary then of our last 2 lessons. So we've been looking at the human body, and we've looked at the 2 major systems that make up our body. We've got the bones and our skeleton, and our muscular system with our muscles. Okay? Our human body is made of bones, and it is made of muscles. And between them, they have 3 main functions. So we know from last week that our bones protect us. Think of your head, your skull being like a helmet, and your rib cage protecting your heart and lungs. And it supports us, which means it holds us upright. And then today, the function we've learned about is our muscles that help us move. So we're just going to do a little rhyme to help us remember it. Now, I did this last year and it worked quite nicely to help us remember the 3 main functions. So it's to the tune of Bob the Builder. Okay, and I know you're a bit old for that, but it's just the tune we need. So let's practice it together. The first line is we all say together, human body. Okay, and then the reply is bones and muscles. So let's put that together. You ready? 3, 2, 1. Human body, bones and muscles. Then we go human body, and this is where we say our 3 functions. So we go protect, support, and then you'll like this one, the move is the robot at the end because it helps us move. Okay, so let's go through it together and then we'll do it again. So it goes human body, bones and muscles. Human body, protect, support, move. Okay, hold the robot. That's our 3 functions. Right, one more time before we go, and we'll test you on it again next week. 3, 2, 1. I want to hear you as loud as you can. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Human body, bones and muscles. Human body, protect, support, move. Fantastic. Have a great week. We'll see you again tomorrow.